Hey friends, this is Dave. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I hope you enjoy the content. If you're not, thanks for continuing to watch and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about Rocket Lab once again. It's kind of my big stock right now, so I can't get enough of it. And what we're looking at today is a stock report. They recently initiated coverage on the stock. They gave it a buy rating. We're going to see the thoughts of their analyst and how they're valuing the stock, how they're looking at the stock, and see if we can find any useful bits of information in there. I'm not always on board with how Wall Street analysts look at companies, but there's no denying they are smart, and we can definitely sometimes learn from what they have to say. Sorry, Editor Dave jumping in from the future here. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Keith. Thanks for helping out with this video, Keith. You're the best. With that being said, let's hop over to the analysis. Okay guys, so right now we are in my Interactive Brokers Trader Workstation. It's a great piece of software for investors. I do recommend it if you're looking for a new trading platform. There is a referral link down in the description. This is my, I guess, sellout moment of the day. If you feel like signing up for Interactive Brokers and you click the link below, I'll get a little bonus. You'll get a little bonus. But I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't actually like it, and I'm clearly using it myself. So just take that for what it's worth. But anyway, continuing on. So right now what we're looking at is Rocket Lab in Fundamentals Explorer inside Trader Workstation. And we're going to go into Analyst Rating. Now, there's all sorts of stuff in here. I think I'm going to make a future video going over this. But when I'm looking at a report for a analyst, I like to know a little about them, how they're ranked. And there's a great website called TipRanks here. You can see these buttons for TipRanks ratings and TipRanks sentiment. Hey guys, I've pulled up TipRanks for Rocket Lab, and what this often does is tells you which analyst has what rating on the stock, what their price target is. But more importantly than that, they go through and rate each analyst based on their past performance. So you could see if an analyst has done really well, he's got 5 stars. If he's done really poorly, he's got like half a star, 1 star. And you can kind of read more into the analysts who have done better previously. It can be a very useful tool. However, it is a paid tool that I don't currently have. But Interactive Brokers does give me some TipRanks information from within their Trader Workstation's platform. So that's why we're here right now. By the way, there's so many capabilities in a lot of our trading platforms that you might not be familiar with. So even if you're not with Interactive Brokers, there might be a lot of cool stuff in your own platform that you're not aware of. You might want to go exploring a little more in depth one day. So I didn't even know about this when I first signed up. So now we're going into our analyst rating section for Rocket Lab, and we're seeing the CFRA recently initiated a coverage on Rocket Lab with a buy rating. And I want to take a look at our tip ranks here, see if we can get any information on their analyst. And unfortunately, we have unknown analysts, so we don't have any information on their, their rating history, how their performance history, how well they've done. We have some other analysts here. Interesting to see. Let's sort by rank. And the two highest analysts, the two highest rated analysts, have the highest price targets. But that could just be a fluke because they also haven't updated their price targets in a little while. So that could just be from, they made these price targets when the stock was higher. But, take that for what it's worth. I did want to find out a little bit more about the CRFA and this analyst. So I did a quick search for him. And what we found was, okay, so first of all, the CFRA provides independent and actionable research and analytics to their subscribers. What they do is forensic accounting, fundamental research, and on stocks, independent bespoke research, policy research, technical research. So they do a lot of research. They'll create reports on various companies. And we found out that the analyst who created this report we're looking at today is Keith Snyder. So not sorry to single you out here, Keith, if you ever come across this, but just trying to take a look at what he's done previously. He's an industry analyst. He's responsible for coverage in the technology sector. Previously held the position at S&P Global Market Intelligence. So, I mean, seems like he's done fairly well for himself for sure. And he's written some articles on various topics. But anyway, let's hop into Keith's actual report here and see what we can find. So, let's zoom in. Small cap kind of company. Price was $4.25. So this report was on July 9th. A little bit out of date here, unfortunately, but I still think there can be some valuable stuff to be found in here. It's only, less than a month since the report was issued. This is actually the most recent report we have on Rocket Lab, at least that I could find. So, 52-week range. A lot of this is just kind of automatically generated information, so you might not have to read too much into it. Market cap, we know it's around $2 billion. Analyst's risk assessment. Our risk assessment reflects the highly competitive nature of the small-sat launch industry. In addition, it competes with many large rocket operators like SpaceX and ULA, who offer small-sat launches on more flight-proven rockets. And he's given it a high risk assessment. To be honest, I think that's kind of fair. Not to say that I don't like the stock, because obviously I do, but I think it's fair to say it's high risk. I think it's a high risk, high reward play is how I look at it. So I've been buying heavy, but I do recognize it's a riskier company. It's a risky industry. They have a lot of competition, and it is, I don't disagree with you there, Keith. Now, price performance. So I think we all know how the stock's done over the past year or so. Briefly popped to about 20, and it's kind of been on a downward trend since. Some information on revenue and earnings data. Now, you can get a lot of this stuff from other sources, of course, EPS as well. Now, but let's go over to the highlights here. We project revenue growth of 231.4% in 2022. That is absolutely insane revenue growth. Like 50% revenue growth would be insane. 231 is massive. Now, of course, they did have a poor 2021 due to COVID, so it's a little bit skewed, but still projecting massive revenue growth. Followed by 50.9% increase in 2023. Growth will mostly be driven by its space systems division, which I absolutely agree with. We are seeing a lot of growth in the space systems side of the company, which has won a number of notable contracts for satellite construction over the past few quarters, including its largest win to date in Q1, which was a $143 million contract with MDA Ltd. To design and build 17 spacecraft buses for use by Globalstar for its new constellation. So yeah, I did see that they won this contract. I don't remember seeing this figure of $143 million. I'm not sure if that's a figure that was available to me and I just missed it, or if that's something I didn't have access to. But nice to see that that's an absolutely massive contract. 17 spacecraft buses is no small contract. At the end of Q1, its backlog sat at $554 million, an increase of $301 million. We knew that from the previous earnings call, which I did go over. But just giving you a bit of his perspective, it gives us confidence in our long-term growth outlook. So this backlog increasing does inspire confidence for sure. Despite a slow start to the launch service revenue in Q1, expect to see an acceleration of growth throughout the next few quarters as Rocket Lab increases the cadence of its Electron launches, having added a third pad in New Zealand and breaking ground on a launch facility in Virginia. It's actually only a second pad in New Zealand. And they do have a launch pad in Wallops as well. So, yeah. Anyway, we project gross margin between 12% and 13.5%. Now, remember, this is gross, guys, so it's doesn't mean they're making money here. That's before a lot of stuff. But it's good to see it going up in 2023 from 2022. driven by higher revenue in space systems, which carry substantially higher margin than its launch service segment. Now, they are going to shoot to grow the margin of the launch services segment, but yeah, right now, space systems is more profitable. We project an operating loss per share of 16 cents per share in 2022, followed by 8% in 2023. So they're looking at us cutting our losses in half in 2023, and then potentially gaining profitability in 2024 is what it looks like. Our buy recommendation reflects our view that Rocket Lab has emerged as one of the top launch providers for small payloads. Other competitors in the space like Astra have seen a number of failures on high-profile missions. I think we've all looked at that. And then there's larger operators like SpaceX, which offer rideshare options for smaller payloads. Customers may not get to the exact orbit they want, given the rocket's flight is primarily tailored to the principal payload in these rideshare situations. All stuff I've talked about before as well. We believe Rocket Lab will be able to further reduce launch cost as its Electron rocket inches closer to reusability. I definitely agree there. And they will continue to pursue additional tuck-in acquisitions for their space system segment. Yeah, they've made several strategic acquisitions in the space system side of the business, and yeah, they probably will make some more as they grow out that side of the business. They do have a comfortable cash position to fall back on. Now, risks to the recommendation and price target include increased competition from new and existing providers for launch and design services, as well as delays to either the construction or launch of hardware due to supply chain issues. Honestly, I think due to their vertical integration, Rocket Lab is looking pretty good on the supply chain side of things. I'm not too worried about them there. There could always be delays, of course, with their new Neutron rocket and their new launch pad. I know we're waiting on NASA for some software, but not too worried about Astra as a competitor. Relativity could be one to provide increased competition, but we'll have to see what the future holds. Our 12-month target is $10 per share. Now, bear in mind he made this target while it was $4.25 per share. So you might look at some of the other ratings, see that they're higher, and be like, oh, this guy's not that bullish, come on. But really, he made this rating at a $4.25, which means he's predicting the stock will more than double in a single year, which is extremely bullish for an analyst. He's putting his name to this, and his reputation is on the line. So this 12-month target applies an enterprise value to sales multiple of 13.4x to the 2023 estimate, and a premium to its 10-year historical average multiple at 9.6x, reflecting our strong growth outlook. So he does believe in the future growth of the company, and this price target, he believes, is reflecting this, which is, of course, only 1 year in the future. Now, no dividends, we all know that. I'm not going to go over the whole business summary. I think we've talked enough about what Rocket Lab does. If you're not too familiar with it, I have a lot of other videos going over it. I suggest you check some of them out. Space Systems is a bit less well known for people. I will just kind of highlight that we do also build spacecraft, provide reaction wheels, star trackers, magnetic torque rods, solar panels, radios, separation systems, command and control spacecraft software, and power solutions. So all sorts of stuff other than launching rockets, which is what they're most well known for. In terms of the environment, I think we all know it's been extremely competitive in the last few years. The financial trends, we see that in 2021, revenue increased 77%, which is good, but there was a 27.4% decline in the previous year. So evening things out, we're looking at a 50% growth rate overall, which is pretty good. In addition, Rocket Lab saw 1,021% growth in space systems revenue. This is a result of organic growth as well as contributions from their acquisitions. So this number is absolutely insane, and it's great, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely great. Not sustainable because that's also coming from the purchase of these companies, Advanced Solutions, Solero, Planetary Systems, whereas they bought these companies and all of a sudden, of course, you're going to see new revenue. But you're not going to keep buying companies forever. As of December 31st, they had 691 million in cash with a total debt of 100 million. So a lot of these evaluations we have not ranked on. Could be there's not enough information because it's a newly public company, or maybe just because they're not yet profitable. Some of these algorithms don't really apply. We do see they're highly volatile. Absolutely agree with that. Yes, they are. Insider activity favorable. You always like to see that. That means big insiders could be buying people who are already a part of the company and may know things we don't, although they're only allowed to buy at specific times. Insiders believe in the company. It's always good to see. I have a bit of an industry outlook here for the whole aerospace and defense industry. I find the industry outlook for this is really deceptive when it comes to Rocket Lab. Aerospace and defense, I find, is dominated by flight and plane companies as well as defense companies. So the numbers are really skewed, and it doesn't really give you a good sense, to me at least, of the space sector. So you can see, like, we're talking about, troops in Afghanistan and stuff like that. Really not too applicable to space as well. We're talking about, planes, Boeing 737 MAX. So I kind of look too closely at this personally. Obviously, we don't have price to earnings ratios. And I mean, what an industry, right? You can see it's still so new, still so growing. So many companies without a PE ratio as of yet. All these fair value calculators not really applicable. But that just goes to show it's a really new industry. And lots of startups in the space. So that's it for that report, guys. I hope you found it valuable.